how much have you really saved away for a rainy day? No, I'm not talking about what happened yesterday. I'm talking about what happens when you're in a dire situation and you now need to figure out some quick way to turn around. How much have you saved? Do you even know how to save for a rainy day? Well, it's time to talk money right here on 3 Lounge.
Three Lounge with AJ. Accra is on LACT. Here on 92.7 3 FM.
Yeah, life must be funny in a rich man's world, though. Yeah. It's time to talk money. And joining me talk all about it, investment professional and head of client coverage at Sim is Desmond Bru. Hi, Desmond.
Hi, AJ.
How are you doing?
I'm well.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to see you.
It's good to see you. I really identify with the song. Sometimes I wish I could just find myself a wealthy man and just not have to work a day in my life. Sometimes I think, why am I sitting here all day running around? But most importantly, how is it that I cannot save for a rainy day? Because that's something that you never know when the next pinch is going to come.
Yeah.
Some people say we're all like a few paychecks away from either being homeless or being broke or something of that sort. So how can we really start thinking of saving for a rainy day?
Yes. I mean, thank you, and good morning to our listeners as well. I think even before we come to the strategies, maybe somebody's probably confused about what savings is in the first place.
True.
And so I would want to probably start from that angle.
Go ahead.
And for many people, when you talk about savings, the first thing that comes into their mind is putting money aside for a future expense or for the rainy day that we spoke about. But for me, for example, you put in a susu box or a bank account or even under a bed, like some people do, right? And we can talk about its value in time.
Yeah.
But savings goes beyond just keeping money aside. What I call delayed consumption or delayed gratification. It could be a big word, but let me just explain it.
Please.
So for instance, AJ, you choose, or let's say you have 10 CDs to spend in a given day, but you choose to spend 7 CDs. You've effectively saved the 3 CDs.
Okay.
So that delayed consumption is also savings. So we shouldn't think of savings as just only keeping money aside, but also delayed consumption as well. Then I can just address your question then of how then can somebody save? For me, I look at it in multiple layers, and I'll just take it one step at a time. So the first thing for me, if you want to save, is what we call paying yourself first.
Okay.
What do I mean? So AJ, for many people, they will say that the money they earn is not enough.
It never is.
It never is for many people. But what I've realized in my life, and many people that I talk to, is that once we get our income, the first thing we go to is expenditure. Actually, when you get your income, the first thing you should consider is the savings component before you go to expenditure. Again, in my life and people that I've engaged, once you get your money and start going to expenditure, you end up saving nothing. And so for me, again, people will tell you that, put 20% of your money away, 10% of your money away for savings. For me, I don't believe in that. I mean, it's good, but for me, what I look at is what you can do consistently and religiously. So even if it is 10 CDs, 50 CDs, 100 CDs, put that money as paying yourself first. And that's, for me, the most crucial element. In fact, for me, it helps me so much that once I get money, some people can tell you that, put a standing order on your account. So once you get paid on, say, 21st or 30th of every month, you say that, okay, I'm debiting my account with 50 CDs, 100 CDs, 20 CDs as the money for my future self.
What is the percentage of your income you should dedicate towards paying yourself?
So again, many books will tell you 20%. And that's what, because again, everybody's life is different. Everybody's circumstance is different. For somebody, they can religiously do 5% or 10%. assuming somebody's earning 1,000 cedis, you're telling the person to put 200 cedis aside. It'll probably not be realistic for the person. But maybe telling the person to put 50 cedis aside could be realistic for the person. And so for me, I always say that look at your circumstance and say, okay, this is what, after having drawn your budget, I can put aside 70 cedis, 100 cedis. Again, its value is another thing altogether. But it's, for me, once you start small, once you increase your income, then you can also graduate in terms of how much you can put aside. And so for me, that's really the fundamental, paying yourself first. And as I was speaking about the standing order, we have some people have multiple bank accounts.
Yeah.
And so once they are paid, they just move a little bit into that account. Okay, this is my money for the next 2 months or the next year or even the next year, for instance. So for me, that's the basic thing if you really want to save. I can share some other strategies as well. I can go on. Yes.
I'm actually quite enjoying it. Yeah.
Enjoying. Okay, that's
in my
good.
mind, I'm now re-strategizing my finances as we're talking.
So another thing I've also realized, again, just coming back on the fact that we say that, the money is never enough. It's talking about what we call lifestyle inflation.
Because once your income starts to go
Increasing.
up, your tastes start to change.
Exactly.
And your expenditure starts to dramatically increase.
Exactly.
How do you help or save that?
Exactly. And so for me, the first thing is let's be aware of lifestyle inflation. And it could be subtle, but it comes up. We're humans. Of course, when you used to earn 1,000 cedis, now you're earning maybe 10,000, 15,000 cedis. We don't expect you to be the same place, but it's about how you check that change in the lifestyle inflation. And so maybe for somebody, it could be even the kind of place they hang out.
Yeah.
Maybe you used to go to a place where maybe a bottle of drink probably is 10 cedis. But now when you go to the bottle of the same drink is now 200 cedis. So for the same thing, where you are living is probably a bit different.
Yes.
And so for me, as your income changes, what you should be mindful of is not changing your taste buds too much so that you can have enough room to save. Now, I have somebody that I coached a few years ago, and I told her that, okay, the time you were earning 1,000 cedis, you were able to manage. This is a few years ago. Again, 1,000 cedis today, another different story altogether. You are now earning 3,000 cedis. Can we live as if we are on 1,000 cedis? Or maybe 1,500 or 2,000, for instance. We're not living like we're on a 3,000 cedi salary now. And so maybe for people whose income have changed over time, you need to think of what ways you can avoid those lifestyle creeps. It's really important for people to, if you really want to put something aside to save. And so that's the second thing. I was talking about paying yourself first.
Yeah.
I've also spoken about avoiding lifestyle inflation. Another practical way that people can save money, again, not just thinking about putting money aside, but the delayed consumption as well, is downsizing.
How?
Okay. So AJ, maybe you're looking at getting your next car. Probably you're driving a 3.5 liter engine car. Can you look at the 2.5 liter? So you are effectively saving on the fuel consumption.
Okay.
Again, you're looking at building your next house. Maybe your children have all left home. There's no need for the 7-bedroom house. Probably it's a 5 or a 3-bedroom house that you need. And so for me, we need to think of ways or parts of our life that we can downsize. It could even be as simple as enjoyment. I talk about people enjoying their income, absolutely. But if you go out, say 4 times in a given month, can you downsize to say 2 times in a month? You're still enjoying your money all the same, but at the same time, you downsized a little. Again, it could be anything. And again, for me, I try to be as practical as possible with people's finances. Because I always say that personal finances is absolutely personal. And so the principle here is that look at your life. Look at certain things you can actually downsize. And think of it. It could even be for somebody, they give too much. For instance, so is that what you can look at downsizing? For somebody, they buy too many books. Is that what you're looking at downsizing? So let's think of ways that you can make it easier for you to downsize. And for me, once you downsize on some of these things, you can put money aside for the things that are really important for you as well. So maybe those are the 3 things, but I can share more if you want me to. More than happy to share more.
No, we will. We'll definitely go into it and probably even open the phone lines and take 1 or 2 calls. Yes. But if you're just tuning in, I'm here with Desmond. We're talking about finances, saving for the rainy day. We've been going through some strategies you can consider in terms of saving for yourself. Now let's come to the average Ghanaian worker.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, the average salary ranges between 2,000 to at the very most 4,000.
Yes.
Just like 1% and 7 to 10 to 20 on above. How does an average Ghanaian worker who's earning between maybe 1,000 to 4,000 cedis, maybe 1,000 to 3,000 if you're more realistic, start to consider saving, especially in this day and age where things are hiking up every moment?
Yes. So again, for me, being practical, I always tell people that, like you said, there's always a much more bigger rainy day. And so you need to be practical about how you live your life.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can say that, oh, the money is not enough. Absolutely, it's not. But what can we do in this instance? For me, the first thing that always comes to mind is how can I manage the little that I have through, for example, having a budget.
Okay.
And so if, let's say, you are earning 3,000 cedis, what I would do is then to say, okay, let me categorize my expenses into the things that are absolute essentials, things that are absolute essentials, or maybe variable expenses, and my savings and investments. So I have 3 categories: my fixed expenses, my variable or the non-essentials, and I'll give you an example as we go along. But let me just talk about the fixed expenses. So for example, you can't say that you won't eat every day.
Yes.
So those kind of food, maybe for somebody it's rent, maybe it's clothing, those can go into your fixed expenses category, right? And I talk about rent because unfortunately, again, in Ghana, we don't pay rent on a monthly basis. But definitely you know that in a year's time, you probably pay for the rent. And so if it is 50 cedis you're allocating for it in the next year, put that 50 cedis also in your budgeting in a given month. And that's why I spoke about the rent, for instance. Let's move to the variable expenses. We call those things that are not absolute essentials or things you can do without. So for example, you can say that the enjoyment that I spoke about, instead of doing 4 times in a month, I want to do 2 times in a month. One thing, again, I need to highlight is that for somebody, maybe buying clothes could be a fixed expense because probably they're a fashion influencer and so they need that to generate their wealth. But for somebody, buying clothes is a variable expense. And so that's why I keep saying that personal finance is absolutely personal. And so look at your life and think of the things you can categorize into the fixed and things you can categorize into the variable. But the hack here is that you need to distinguish between your needs and your wants. Because as humans, our needs and wants are probably unlimited.
Yes.
But the resources are rather scarce, economics, right? And so if you know that, okay, these are my needs, and so they're going to my fixed expenses, then you can allocate monies to them first. Then you can look at the variable ones as well. I've already spoken about the fact that you need to put the savings and investments first. And so for me, once you're able to do that, then you can know that, okay, I'm earning 4,000 cedis or 3,000 cedis. Given where my budget is, about 500 cedis of my money is going to food, 400 is going to transportation, 300 is going to, say, data. Then you can know how you can then cut back on some of these things. And that comes to tracking your expenses. Because if you don't know where the money is going to, how then would you make any adjustment? And so oftentimes we get paid, and after 2 weeks, after a week, we are like,
where did the money go
to? Right, and it's because we probably didn't get time to track the expenses. And for me, it's not just enough to budget, but how then do you track the expense? Because you need to make adjustments, you need to make improvements. And so once you know that, okay, I'm spending most of my time or my money in maybe this particular category, let me try ways of reducing it. And that's how you can actually make way. But ultimately, AJ, there's a limit to how much you can save. It is not practical enough to say that you can save your way to wealth. You probably need to invest and probably earn more money.
Now, yes, coming to investment. At this point in time, I feel over the last 2 years, with the way haircuts happened, everyone is now very wary of investments. Everyone experienced. I even experienced a haircut. In fact, I think I'm even afraid to go and look at what is left of my investment because that's how bad it was. What can you invest in? Now that there's a lot of apprehension in placing money in certain places because you're afraid one day that can be a blanket cut.
I mean, you are absolutely spot on, and the fear is real, right? But for me, before I jump into the option A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I like to look at some fundamentals because I think it's one thing to learn how to educate people so they can make informed choices.
Yeah.
Because you have a really huge or wide audience. One particular option may not suit the next person. And so for me, I like to give the basics, what they should look out for before they think of the investment. For me, the most important thing is you need to understand the reason for the investment.
Okay.
Why are you investing?
Yeah.
Now, just to define what investment is, because many people think of investment as just only financial assets. Investment could also be non-financial assets. It could even be a business, a land, for instance. It could even be your own person investing in yourself, right? So investment is where you buy assets or security which you expect a return. And so don't just think of only financial assets. Think of also non-financial assets as well. And so again, before you think of investment, the first thing is, why am I investing? Now, here's why it's crucial. Assuming AJ, you're using the money to pay school fees in 6 months' time, but you still want to invest the money because you're afraid of inflation,
Absolutely.
for instance. Probably buying shares is not a way to go, because maybe in 3 or 6 months' time, the value of the shares could probably drop, which will not help you achieve the goal that you're looking out for. And so before you think of investment, think of the goal. It could be anything. It could even be holding to the side. You know, sometimes we're in a situation where you're not too sure what you want to do with your money. Even in that time, inflation is still there, and so you need to put your money somewhere. And that could probably mean you put your money in a money market fund, for instance.
Okay.
You're thinking of saying your children's education long term. You're thinking of buying a property. You're thinking of retirement. All of these things will shape what you put your money into. And so that's for me the basic. It could even mean like put your money in a business, because you need cash flows or money on a regular basis. And so that's what really the fundamental is. The next thing is that, okay, how much risk am I willing to take? Because every form of investment comes with its own risk. In fact, choosing not to invest itself is also a risk you're taking, right? And I always say that risk permeates the very fabric of our life. If you are crossing the road to your work, if you are drinking water, even if you are sleeping, risk is present. And so you need to say, okay, am I willing and able to take on this risk? So for example, you want to start a business. Do you have the time? Are you willing to take on the business risk? Are you able to take on the business risk as well? Another thing is, let's say you want to buy, say, a treasury bill. Are you able to take the risk? You want to put your money in a mutual fund. Are you willing and able to take on the risk? Let me give you a simple example, AJ. And this probably will apply to different people. So AJ, I give you a scenario. Imaginary coin in my hand, in my hand. And I tell you that, AJ, if you choose not to flip the coin, you are guaranteed $1 million. But if you choose to flip the coin and you get the heads, you can win $10 million. AJ, I mean, you don't have to put any money into it. Are you flipping the coin or you're not flipping the coin?
I will not flip the coin.
You not flip the coin?
No, if I flip and I get tails, I don't get anything.
You get zero.
I'll not flip the coin.
You not flip the coin.
Because $1 million in hand is worth more than 10 million in the book.
But for somebody,
depends on the person's risk level.
Exactly. And that's why it's important you know the kind of risk level, risk tolerance level you can appreciate. Because for somebody, they'll tell you that, oh, I can win $10 million. Why can't I gamble the $1 million? And so it's important you know yourself, your risk tolerance. For somebody, they are at the lower spectrum, risk averse. Maybe AJ would probably be low risk investor.
I am low risk investor.
But somebody could be a very aggressive risk taker. They'll be like, even if it is 9 million, I can win 10 million. I'll still gamble and win the extra 1 million. You understand? And so you need to understand your risk tolerance as well. And also you need to, what we say, do a bit of digging around or due diligence in terms of the investment you want to do. Ask questions. So for instance, are they licensed by the SEC or Bank of Ghana, or who are the regulators, for instance? How long have they been in operations? Are you asking other people about what the investment is about? Again, this could just be non-financial. Let me give you a simple example as well. I get many people come and tell me that this one, I want to start like a ride-hailing business. I don't want to mention name, right? And so I tell her, have you done your research about it?
They said someone said that it was very lucrative, so they want to enter.
Exactly. But you've not probably done your research. But it's an investment in itself, right? Because probably you don't have the risk appetite to say where the driver comes to every week and say that, oh, this spare part is spoiled, and you probably be losing out, you understand? And so whatever it may be, do some bit of research about the kind of investment you want to do in as well. Another thing I can even talk about is that don't put all your money in one basket. Probably maybe just pause here if you want to ask more questions on that, but I will just say that whatever investment you want to do, don't put all your investment in one basket.
Okay.
Have some multiple things you're doing. Maybe a business, maybe put your money in equity, for instance, mutual fund, for instance, having a land, like multiple things. And so this is all that you can do in order to sort of have a basic understanding of your investment. Then I can then zoom into the investment proper for you.
Okay, I like that. Now we have a few more minutes to wrap it up, but I would like to ask you the one tip, or the one I advise you'd give anyone who's considering investment or considering finding their own level of savings.
So I would say that when it comes to investments, right, like, and I always spoke about risk appetite, but you need to ask questions, because not one investment is the same as the other, and so ask questions. If you want to ask some of us about our opinion, we can give you that opinion as well. But I think the basic thing is about asking questions. Why? For example, you want to put your money in, let's say, this headset. You need to understand how the headset generates returns for you. If the person is promising you maybe 10% per month, that's 20% a year. Ask yourself, what is that person doing to give you that kind of returns? It's really important. The asking questions. Questions opens doors to more things. And so for me, if you don't remember anything at all, whatever you want to put your money into, ask questions about it. If you want to reach out to some of us, we are more than happy to assist you. If you want to come to us, again, we're more than happy to assist you. And one thing we do really well at my organization, at the SIMS, is that we take time to actually understand what your investment needs are before we think of, okay, there's this solution, whether you're looking for offshore product, you're looking for domestic product. We want to understand you before we think of the investment options for you. So that's one thing I'll say to people: understand, ask questions before you jump into any investment as well.
I like that a lot. Well, finally, Desmond, how can we reach out to you? How can we follow up and perhaps get some solution on our own investment worries?
So my 9 to 5, I work with Stanbic Investment Management Services. We're on the 4th floor of Stanbic Heights. Again, you can reach out to any Stanbic branch. When you come, again, like I said, we would engage you, understand what you need before we give you some solution. We have a number of investment advisors for you. On my socials, I'm at Desmond Bru on X, on Facebook, and I think on Instagram as well, at Desmond Bru. More than happy to assist you. Reach out and we can assist you as well.
Is there a number you'd like to put out?
Probably an email.
Okay.
As askdesmondbru@gmail.com.
Ask Desmond Bru at gmail.
Yeah, ask me. So ask Desmond@gmail.com.
We love it. Well, Desmond, we look forward to having you again on our money segment right here on 3 Lounge on 3FM 92.7. But yeah, all that we pray for is Moolah, and Kweku Flick says it right on this next song.